can you audible, madam? No problem.
Audible? Okay. Can you slow do it?
Yes, yes.
இல்ல ஒரு டிவைஸ்ல வந்தா போதும் சொல்றாங்க. அதுலயும் போ.
வணக்கம்.
Principal in charge, sir. Shall we start the meeting, sir?
Yes, வணக்கம்.
Principal, yes, sir. Good afternoon. Principal in charge, sir. Sir, principal, sir. Shall we start the meeting? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. A very good evening to all. On behalf of IQAC Presidency College, I welcome one and all virtually present in this meeting. For the past 2 months, as an IQAC coordinator, I have been helping several departments to conduct national and international webinars like this. But my parent department, Department of Zoology, has not conducted any such event. It was disappointing for me. But in this situation, our HOD, Dr. Shivakumari Madam, come with a proper rescue. She has arranged a very nice international meeting. Probably she might have been waiting for actually to come up with a latest person in the field of webinars, maybe. So she has arranged a very good speaker and a good topic also. The quality of the speaker and the topic are actually identified by the overwhelming response from the participants. About 2037 participants are registered for this particular event, out of which nearly 48%, about 50% are outside of Tamil Nadu. It includes about 30 participants across the globe, starting from United States of America, Poland, Nigeria, Zambia, whatnot. United Arab Emirates, Oman, Kuwait, Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, India, Ceylon, Nepal, China, Malaysia, Singapore, Japan, South Korea. Almost the entire globe is being actually represented in this meeting actually. So this credit will go to the speaker. Actually, Dr. Sundar could felicitate, actually he could fetch such a good response from people all over the globe. And he helped us to reach our college name to the entire globe. So thank you, sir. And at this time, I thank our principal in charge, Dr. Devanathan sir, who has been a very supportive for all our endeavors. With these few informal words, I hand over the platform to the Department of Zoology, and now I invite Dr. Shivakumari Madam, HOD of Zoology, to deliver the welcome address. Please, Madam.
Yeah, very good evening to all present at this meeting. It's my privilege and I'm glad to welcome the dignitaries who have attended this meeting. First, I thank our principal, Dr. Devanathan sir, who has given a warm support and support whatever we need. That support is being given by him. I thank him and I welcome him. Without him, this program is not possible for us. I welcome you, sir, to bless us so that the meeting goes on well. It's my privilege to welcome the honorable chief guest of this meeting of the International Conference, Dr. Sundar Balasubramaniam, Assistant Professor, Department of Radiation Oncology, Medical University of South Carolina, Charleston, USA. I'm happy, sir, that you accepted my request to give this speech on the science of yogic breathing. This is a topic which is needed now. Because of this COVID pandemic. Many of the doctors and people, they say, go do pranayama, do exercise, do take all herbal medicines and all. And this is the one topic which is relevant to the COVID pandemic. I welcome you, sir, and I thank, in this juncture, I thank Dr. Yuvaraj Sambandam and Dr. Ilangovan Ramachandran, who helped me to contact you and get your nod. Welcome, sir. Welcome for the meeting. I welcome my staff, Dr. Kalina, Dr. Abdul Rahim, and all my staff who are been my pillars and who stand by me to at all the times. Whenever I need, they are there with me. I welcome all. A special mention goes to the IQAC, especially Dr. Abdul Rahim, who has been pivotal in conducting all the programs through IQAC cell of our college. I welcome you, sir. Technically, I didn't know anything about it. Whatever he said, I followed it. And he gave me the instructions, and it was very easy for me to follow it. And with that, we have got this overwhelming response of 2,187 participants. And last but not least, I welcome all the delegates and participants who are, without you, nothing, this is not going to happen. So I welcome you all for this meeting. Hope you will enjoy your time. You will enjoy that talk of Dr. Sundar, and you will be benefited with this. With this, I hand over the platform to Dr. O.R. Devanathan, the principal, to give the presidential address. Thank you.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir. Please.
Yeah. A very good evening to one and all present here. At the very outset, I would like to congratulate the vibrant Department of Zoology for organizing this webinar. We can always organize webinars, but the success of a webinar totally is dependent on the number of people who get benefited by that. And on knowing that we have more than about 2,000 participants here, that too from various countries, goes to say the greatness of the speaker as well as the usefulness of the topic. I don't know who suggested this topic, whoever be it, my warmest congratulations to them, because after all, we strive and we are on this earth just to live, and we live by breathing. And when I say breathing, it is not just inhaling and exhaling. It is not just we intake that air from outside and let the air from our body inside. There is a practice to it. The ancient seers lived for long, very long years, unimaginable number of years they lived. It is when we read that, we feel it is all impossible. We feel it is all mythology. We feel it is not possible at all. But my friends over here, I say it is very much possible if we have the knack and the technique of knowing as to how to use our way of breathing, inhaling and exhaling, I mean. So this topic has naturally evinced a lot of interest to the listeners. I really congratulate the speaker for that and the department for organizing this. And I think I can take this platform to tell a few words about our college, because I understand that there are about 48% of people from outside Tamil Nadu. This is now you are part of a college which has organized this seminar, part of a college which boasts of a long hoary history of 180 years. Yes, you are listening me properly. It is not just 80 years or 100 years. It is put together 180 years. You are now a part of a college. You are now listening a webinar organized by a college which is 180 years old. Now when I say 180 years, we are really proud that we are both ancient in our majestic structure, but we are vibrant in our outlook. Even today, we cannot find another college which caters more to the needs of the first generation, students. So we are very proud that we belong to such a college which takes care of the needs of those who are very much underprivileged in society. And this college, when you go through the annals of the history of this college, my friends, there we have produced very brilliant minds. We have produced our students include kings and great politicians, great literatures, very great scientists. In fact, our college boasts of two scientists, Dr. Sarji Ram. You all would have known about him. I'm talking about international, audience. So we have produced two Nobel laureates and an A laureate. So, and right now, this year, in our 180th year, we are the fifth best college in all over India. National Institute for Ranking Framework has placed our college by the mere achievements of our college. It has placed us as the best fifth college in the entire country. So you are now part of that college, such an institution. We really are proud as part of it. And among that, we have this zoology department, which is ever vibrant, which always wants to come with some request to conduct some seminar or some kind of an workshop. So such a very vibrant department, and that department come out with this webinar, and that too on the topic yoga, which is very dear to all nowadays. It's a fact to know about yoga. But when we say yoga, I say all of our yogis in a way, because yoga is not something to be practiced from outside, my friends. It is not something to be practiced from outside alone, because what is yoga? Yoga is defined technically. There are a lot of definitions. But generally, what is yoga? Yoga is basically considered to be expertise in whatever actions that we perform. Expertise. Yogaha karmasu kaushalam, they say. So expertise in whatever we do is yoga. And yoga is yogaha samatvam yoga uchyate. Equilibrium of mind. Whether you meet with success or otherwise, whatever be that, we need to be maintaining equilibrium, and that is what yoga is all about. So equilibrium of mind and expertise in whatever we perform is what yoga means. And now that this department has come out with such a webinar with a great expertise, because the department knows whom to tap, what is the subject to be talked about. So in that aspect, I think that the department needs every kind of congratulation. Dr. Shivakumari, the head of the department, with her vibrant staff members, all these are definitely to be congratulated. And I am very happy that Dr. Sundara Balasubramaniam is there to talk about this yogic breathing. I am tempted to talk a lot about yogic breathing because probably he is talking from a different, he will be talking on a different line. But being a Sanskrit, a Sanskritist, I have my own views on breathing, that to yogic breathing. But I know I don't want to stand between you all and Dr. Sundar. And my warmest congratulations are due to the Department of Zoology, and all this is now rendered possible by the ever helping IQAC team of our college. So special words of praises to Dr. Abdul Rahim and his vibrant members who are there to help everyone to conduct all these webinars technically. So I congratulate the department, and I welcome the speaker and all those friends who are there waiting to listen to Dr. Sundar. Thank you all. Thank you all for this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I invite the department senior faculty member, Dr. P.K. Kalina madam, to introduce the speaker.
A very good evening to one and all who are attending this virtual meeting. And it is indeed a privilege to introduce our guest speaker for the day, Dr. Sundar Balasubramaniam. He is a researcher, cell biology researcher at the Medical University of South Carolina, USA. He is also a yoga biology researcher and certified yoga therapist, and is the founder and director of Prana Science Institute. Sundar's yoga research has provided scientific evidence how yoga breathing practice could promote well-being in health and disease. He is the author of many books. Some of the titles are Prana Science, Decoding Yoga Breathing, Mind Your Breathing, The Yogi's Handbook with 37 Pranayama Exercises, and the Tamil book titled Murattu Kudiraikku 37 Kadivalangal. His audio albums include Chanting is Pranayama, Thirukural Maraimozhi, and Kandar Anubodhi. His speech is the most viewed TEDx Charleston in 2015. And Sundar is a J.C. Bose Memorial Awardee, and his works are well published through various magazines such as the Discover magazine, the New York Times, the Huffington Post, the National Republic Radio, and other popular media. His website is pranascience.com, and his books and audios are widely available online, including the Amazon. And Sundar grew up in Tamil Nadu, India, in a traditional yoga and Siddha medicine practicing family background. And he obtained his bachelor's degree from Swami Sitbhavananda Vivekananda Gurukula College in India, where he deepened his asana, pranayama, meditation, and kirtan practices. He has been conducting workshops and giving talks on the scientific aspects of pranayama globally. And he is also a member of the International Association of Yoga Therapists and the Integral Yoga Teachers Association. And he is an IAYT certified yoga therapist. He is the founder director of Yoga Education Trust in India, and also an adjunct faculty at the Manipal Academy of Higher Education, Manipal, India. And also the Siddha Veda Center for Transdisciplinary Studies in New Jersey, USA. I once again welcome you, Dr. Sundar sir, for this webinar. I hand over the platform to Dr. Abdul Rahim.
Sir, now the speaker will proceed with the session. Sir, please, sir, we hand over it to Dr. Sundar, sir, please.
வணக்கம். தெளிவு குருவின் திருமேனி காண்டல், தெளிவு குருவின் திருநாமம் செப்பல், தெளிவு குருவின் திருவார்த்தை கேட்டல், தெளிவு குரு உரு சிந்தித்தல் தானே. தெய்வ திருமூலருடைய திருப்பாதங்களையும் எண்ணற்ற சித்தர்களுடைய திருப்பாதங்களையும் போற்றி இந்த உரையினை தொடங்குகிறேன். Clarity comes from looking at the Guru, listening to the words of the Guru, thinking about the Guru, and speaking about the Guru. Let's all get the clarity from our Gurus. Once again, Vanakkam. Thank you so much for organizing this vibrant webinar. First of all, I thank Dr. Sivakumari for contacting me, and for my friend Dr. Yuva and Ilango for making this wonderful contact. And thank you for organizing this. And I thank Dr. Devanathan, principal, for giving such a wonderful introduction that sets the platform for my speech today. It's a great introduction. Thank you, sir. And then Dr. Abdul Rahim, he has done a wonderful job in organizing this, taking care of the everything behind the running this seminar, and Professor Dr. Kalina for introducing me. Without taking much of your time, I will jump directly into the topic. Before that, I just wanted to mention one thing about the relationship with the wonderful Presidency College. So several years ago, when I was applying for my master's degree in chemistry, I was writing the examination jointly for the Kumbakonam College and the Presidency College, and then I got selected. But I chose to go to Kumbakonam for 2 weeks. Then my life took me to Chennai to biochemistry. So otherwise, I would have had a chance of studying in Presidency College also. So that's nice memory that I got back from the past when I thought about the Presidency College. And I'm going to give a little brief introduction. The plan that I have for today's seminar is that we are going to talk a little bit about the breathing exercises and the science behind it. And I wanted to, kind of lead you with small take-home practices for the everyday practice. So at this time of COVID-19 pandemic, we all need some breathing exercises. There are so many studies out there coming about the importance of breathing exercises or regulated breathing, and how pranayama is right there in that juncture to be useful for the entire world. And I'm so happy that we paved the platform for some of those earlier studies showing what are the different molecular changes and how our body responds to the breathing exercises. Without further ado, I'm going to share my screen with you, and please save your questions for the end of the presentation. So we will be focusing on the presentation right now. So I am radiation oncology. Can you all see my screen? Should be good. Right. I'm a radiation oncology researcher. My day job is to understand cellular signaling pathways that are deranged by exposure to cigarette smoke. So we know cigarette smoking or smoking in general, whether it is electronic cigarette or any other thing, it is not good for health. So we are studying the components of electronic cigarette on cancer cells, and how the cancer cells respond to radiation or other therapeutic modalities. Especially, we are interested in genetic elements that kind of change the therapeutic response. Say we have so many cellular signaling pathways, how those pathways are altered by exposure to cigarette smoke or the electronic cigarette components, and how that interferes with the treatment. So that's the most important thing that we study in the lab. And I always, kind of press upon youngsters who are here: do not smoke. Do not smoke. If you smoke, quit it right now, because it is not the right thing for so many different reasons. So quit smoking is that first message that I will give. That is also important for good breathing as well. So as soon as you think about yoga, what people think, they think about the postures, asanas, right? But yoga is tremendously kind of multitudinous. It can be practiced in so many different ways. Pranayama, or the topic that we are taking today, is part of the 8-limb practice. There are, in the Ashtanga yoga, there are so many different types of yoga. Ashtanga yoga is one of the types of yoga disciplines where we are controlling so many different aspects of life, that's regulated living. So yamam, niyamam, those are the do's and don'ts, the ethical way of living. And then asana, the practice of how to regulate the body. So that's what the most famous thing that you see in so many different media right now. See, asana is the major practice of yoga because it's physical, it is appealing, a lot of people like it and they like to post it. It is also important that suvarai vaituthan sitram thita mudiyum. So therefore it is important to keep the body. Udambai valarthen uyir valarthene. If the body is good, we will be able to get to the higher status of our consciousness. So asana is important. The next one level is the pranayama. That is the topic we are going to be talking about that today. So when we talk about all the different disciplines of the 8-limb practice, we have to think about how we are organized, how our existence is organized in at least 5 different layers. So these are the kotams, or the kosha, or the sheath. So the outermost layer is the physical sheath. You have the annamayam, and then the vital sheath, or the pranamayam, then the mental sheath, manomayam, vijnanamayam, anandamayam. So that's the real self, or the soul. So we can exist in all these 5 different layers, and all the 8 different practices are to realize the value, or pass each layer into the true self. That is the value of yoga. Like Professor Devendranath said, it is the realization, or becoming one with nature, one with God, whatever you call it. So becoming one, voka, yogam, og. So that's the reality, that's the underlying message of yoga. How we are able to connect with the nature is the main goal of yoga. In the essence, in this practice, pranayama, or the vital sheath that you see here, is the connection between the physical and the mental sheath. So we always hear that the prana is the connection between the mind and the body. So it has the ability to talk to both sides. You will see a lot of examples that I'll be saying. So pranayama is basically how we are able to regulate the breathing. So regulation of breathing can be very valuable, even though the breathing in itself is an autonomic process. Whether we like it or not, we will be breathing constantly, non-stop. If we stop, something else will happen. So there is a constant breathing going on. But when you are able to pay attention, become aware of your breathing, become mindful about your breathing, the breathing itself can change, or you can voluntarily change the breathing. Changing the voluntarily changing the breathing has a lot of advantages. Number one, your breathing gets deeper. You will be able to bring the vitality to the whole entire system, and you will be able to turn on certain brain circuits where there will be a lot of coordination between type of subsets of neurons that are important in organizing your memory, your cognitive function, attention, and so many different higher order brain functions. There are new research coming out in this topic, how different regions of the brain are connecting with each other when the breathing level is slow. We breathe about 15 times every minute, 21,600 times a day. That's a lot of breathing. If we are able to regulate that, reduce that number of breathing, change the way we breathe, inhale, hold, exhale, all different types of breathing, it brings a lot of benefits to the mind and the body. So why did I choose pranayama of all the 8 different disciplines and several other practices out there in the yoga? Because it is very easy to practice. Even a baby can breathe. A old person can breathe. Anyone who's here can breathe. Anyone who can breathe can do some pranayama. So when you think about patients who are bedridden, elderly people, or other people who are not able to do those asanas, what they can do? They can do some pranayama exercises. Look at what happens in the ICUs of COVID-19. People cannot breathe on ventilators. How are we going to prevent that? Or how are we going to recuperate, heal the people who are already out of the emergency room? Those are the areas that we can easily use pranayama in. So those are the benefits that I'll be talking about later in too. For all my studies, I used Tirumantiram and several Siddha poems. The literature from the Siddha tradition is vast. It has so much information that is not yet transcribed from palm leaf manuscripts. There are so many manuscripts in the Central Institute of Languages in Hyderabad, and still not transcribed into the current scripts, so we don't understand what is written in there. And there are so many other poems, Siddha poems from, say, Tanjai Saraswati Mahal and many other old libraries throughout Tamil Nadu and elsewhere. There are editions, just books from the first edition itself. There are Siddha poems that are not yet understood properly, even though it is written in Tamil. We know the Tamil words in there, but what does it say? முட்டை இடுகுது ஒரு பறவை, முட்டை மோசம் செய்குது ஒரு பறவை. We know that every single word we understand, but we do not know the inner meaning of that. That's the true nature of Siddha poems. We have to understand that, bring it to current. So that's where my research interest is, to understand what the ancient Siddha poems, what the ancient Tirumantiram says about these exercises and how we can bring the newer insights from the modern biology. So that's why I got introduced to Tirumantiram. You can watch my TEDx talk about my journey to this place today, but it is I just wanted to cut short those information and go directly to the first poem within the pranayama section of Tirumantiram. ஐவர்க்கு நாயகன் அவ்வூர் தலைமகன் உய்யக் கொண்டேறும் குதிரை மற்றொன்றுண்டு மெய்யற்கு பற்று கொடுக்கும் கொடாது போய் பொய்யரை துள்ளி விழுத்திடும் தானே. This is the first poem that talks about the importance of breathing. We all know that we have 5 senses. The 5 senses don't have any control. They just roam around on their own. We want to control them, but who is the master? The mind is the master. We always find it difficult to control the mind, but Tirumular says there is a very easy way to control the mind, because the mind is traveling on a horse. That horse is breathing. That is the Uyyakondeyerum Kudurai. That's a Kudurai is the horse that on which mind is traveling. Mind cannot go on its own. Mind travels on the horse. Manmanam yengundu, vayum angundu. So the mind and the breath go together to all the different places, which means when the breath is uncontrolled, the mind is uncontrolled too. When the mind is uncontrolled, all the senses are uncontrolled. So now you can go back and say what you can fix. You cannot hold the mind. Mind doesn't have any handle, but you can hold the breath. You can change the breathing. When you change the breathing, you will be able to change the way the mind functions. That is the most powerful message that one can get from an ancient literature about the controlling the mind through breathing. It's that is kind of the entry for me into Tirumantram. After a few poems, I came across another poem called the Ivarka Nayakan Avur Talaimakan. The other one is that Erudal Purakam Irattu Vamatal, Arudal Arubathu Naladil Kumbakam, Urudal Muppathu Rendathil Resakam, Marudal Undrinkan Vanjakam Mame. That is another poem from Tirumantram within pranayama that talks about the inhalation, holding, exhalation, the timing, the nostrils, and so many other information. If you are interested in Tirumantram, if you read it, it has 3,000 poems. Of those 3,000 poems, I would say at least 285 poems are, so this is Tirumantram in Tamil, written by Tirumular, Saint Tirumular, and the explanations by Professor Manikavasagan, Dr. Manikavasagan, and it says 3,000 poems. It is available from Himalayan Monastery also as an English PDF. You can download it for free. There are 285 poems on pranayama alone. This is just one of the poems where the ratio of inhalation, holding, and exhalation is explained. You can learn this very easily in 5 minutes using the matre system. The matre system is, if I say amma, a is 1 matre, is half matre, ma is 2 matre. If you know the Tamil grammar, you might have studied this. Amma means 3.5 matre. You can measure the sound based on the sound or the syllables. You can measure the timing. So that's what the technique Tirumular used. He used 16 matre for inhalation, 64 matre for holding, 32 matre for exhalation. You can use any mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, Hallelujah, Allahu Akbar, anything, I am beautiful, I am powerful, anything you want to say within your mind, you can use it for, kind of taming the mind, and also kind of a measure to breathe in and hold and breathe out. So when I was doing this exercise, this is what happened. I found myself salivating more. There's more and more salivation. Interestingly, when you go back to the parasympathetic activation, the definition of parasympathetic activation, the outcomes of parasympathetic activation is the salivation, lacrimation, urination, digestion, defecation, and I also added the lactation. So these are all the things that are happening inside, secretions that are stimulated within the system. So they are activated by the parasympathetic stimulation. So this is one of the signals that you get when you do the pranayama. You are stimulating the relaxation response within your body. That's a parasympathetic activation. When you are relaxing, what do? You are stimulating your healing, your ability to heal any injury in your mind or in your body. That's what happens. The body takes care of itself when you are able to control the breathing and produce saliva. Saliva is just one thing of all the secretions that can happen within the system. And that's what we studied, because it's very easy to collect, easy to study in the laboratory. We designed a study where people chanted Om for 10 minutes and Tirumular pranayama, that the pranayama I will be showing today, and also that I explained earlier. So we collected saliva from 0 and 20 minutes after the exercise. The first thing that we looked at was nerve growth factor. We always hear from our elders that do the pranayama, do the exercise, you will have good memory power. They always say memory power. So I was wondering what was there to improve memory power, and what would be kind of changing when we do the pranayama. This is our first finding, that when we do the pranayama exercise, we stimulate nerve growth factor induction in the saliva. Interestingly, nerve growth factor is kind of produced in the saliva and tears and so many other places all over the body, wherever the neuronal endings are there. So this is important in several disease conditions. You will see that the nerve growth factor is produced in the central nervous system, different places within that area, including the eyes. And it is important for the growth of neurons. It stimulates the growth and also survival. If we do not have enough nerve growth factor in our system, especially in the central nervous system or in the peripheral nervous system, the nerves are going to die sooner. The nerves need nerve growth factor for their existence, for their survival. Therefore, you need to produce nerve growth factor constantly within your system. How do we do that? This is one of the ways that our ancient people have known the method of stimulating your own nerve growth factor. So right now, the nerve growth factor is important in several diseases, as I mentioned. The Alzheimer's disease is one of them, Parkinson's, or in stroke also, it is important. Please hold your questions to the end of the session. If you raise your hand, I won't be able to answer. Okay. Now, NGF is found very low in Alzheimer's disease. So people are now using nerve growth factor as a way of treating the patients. So there are internal, like intracranial injections of nerve growth factor, and people have shown that it helps their memory in postmortem samples in the past 10 years or more than that. So it is important to understand that nerve growth factor can be stimulated within your system using pranayama exercises. And the next set of studies that we did was that what are the things that change apart from nerve growth factor? Is there any other major changes throughout the system that happens? So what this table, that's all published data. So I'm showing this table one from our 2015 paper that it was using the mass spectrometry to understand the differential regulation of various proteins that are kind of expressed in the saliva. So if you look into some of the proteins here, that mucin, these are all like increased and this is decreased expression. Well, if you look into the Ig, those are the immunoglobulins. Wherever you see the Ig, those are immunoglobulin subtype molecules. There are 8 different classes of immunoglobulins that are activated or stimulated more in the saliva, means that it is there in the mucosal system. So the mucosal immunity is one of the first lines of defenses for the entering or invading bacteria, viruses, or anything. So we have antibodies that are part of the natural immune defense. They can just bind whether tightly or loosely depending of our prior exposure. These immunoglobulins are important in kind of stimulating the exercises will stimulate these kind of immunoglobulins. Very interestingly, recently, July 10th issue of Science, 10th or that week, a couple of days ahead or before. So in that issue of Science journal, there is an article. What are the different classes of immunoglobulin heavy chains that are used by people that are exposed to COVID-19 or affected by COVID-19, the SARS-CoV-2 virus? When the exposure is there is a specific, or there are a specific set of immunoglobulin heavy chains that are expressed in the patients. So 1 or 2 of those heavy chains are here in this, among these 8 different immunoglobulin classes, we have 2 heavy chains that are stimulated. So you can say that you are boosting your immune system. You are able to stimulate your immunoglobulins in the mucosal surface with the pranayama exercises. And we also showed some of the molecules like the DMBT1, so the deleted in malignant brain tumors, or proteins like the kallikrein, or some of the proteins that cysteine-rich secretory protein. These are important proteins that are specifically for kind of anti-tumor responses, tumor suppressors, like kallikrein would be involved in other responses like reducing blood pressure, reducing pain-related stuff. And here, the CRSP3, this is one of the proteins along with the DMPT1 that shows the tumor suppressing activities. So what we show here is only a small amount of information that we could get. So every technique is kind of, it has its own limitation. This technique may not be able to detect all the changes that we are able to produce within the system. So, but this is providing some important clues that pranayama exercises change our salivary stimulation, change the biology, the biochemicals within our body. This is, I see that the Lord Shiva's is carrying Ganga, right? The Ganga is something stimulated within ourselves. And we also talk about the Vishnu in the Parkadam, right? So this is also, these are all symbols indicating what you can, of course, these are big ideas. Everybody can see that from different angles. But for my side, I'm seeing these are secretions, these are stimulations of where you can produce things, where you can activate the survival pathways, where you can prolong your normal, healthy life. So that's how I see those symbols. And the other set of experiments we did to understand what are the different inflammatory cytokines. When we know that during the COVID, again, coming back to COVID, cytokine storm, how the immune defense activity produces a lot of immune cells producing inflammatory cytokines into the system, into the alveoli, blocking the gas exchange, producing an acute respiratory stress response. How the cytokine response can be kind of prevented from early on. You cannot just do claim that, okay, pranayama is going to heal everyone from the ventilator out right now, and you don't know. So it is kind of a preventive, it is healing, and of course it is an adjunct therapy. I want to re-emphasize this. The pranayama or any other mind-body practices are adjunct in nature. They are not the main line of therapy. So you have to take the regular standard of care treatment and then use these as adjunct methods or ancillary methods. So here we are reducing the amount of certain cytokines that are involved in inflammatory responses. We showed that you will be able to reduce some of the inflammatory pathways in that particular paper. So I just wanted to kind of bring our central idea. What happens when you do the yogic breathing? It can be breath holding or different types. There are over 50 different exercises in the tradition. We have, if you look into the Siddha literature, there are so many different techniques, but you will not see that. You will think that it is a poem about some birds or some pathway, but it is a breathing exercise. So it is you need that kind of a deeper understanding of all the different Siddha literature to decipher the meaning of one poem from one Siddha. They're all very beautifully interconnected. So when you do regulate the breathing in that manner, you produce a lot of the things inside your body. One of the things is that changes in the saliva. There are other things that will be happening in the oral, nasal, or in the other pathways, the airway, or in the GI. There are so many places where you can test this, but saliva is the easiest one. In the factors that we produce in saliva, what do? They can go to the brain. There are neuronal pathways where you can package things and then they get transported to the central nervous system, to the peripheral nervous system, through the sublingual absorption or to the transcytosis, or several different ways of exporting materials from this area or exporting materials from all other areas within the body. So our body is not like, okay, liver is a compartment that nothing goes in or out. No, nothing like that. It is a large pool. Of course, there are some regulations in the transport in and out, like the blood-brain barrier. But there is a very good communication among the systems through finite molecules or even smaller signaling molecules, like gases, sometimes nitric oxide like gases. They can send messages up and down. That's how you change the system to a better way. So that's how we are thinking the whole pranayama exercises work. And I'm going to just rush through these things. Like, we are using the pranayama exercises for cancer, for cardiopulmonary rehabilitation. People just after 3 weeks of surgery can start doing these breathing exercises, or even earlier than that if they find it safer. And especially cancer patients who are going through a lot of anxiety, fatigue, very importantly, fatigue, depression, they can use a lot of these pranayama exercises to feel better, either before therapy, during therapy, after therapy. And veterans, war veterans, they have a lot of PTS issues and other mental health problems, so they can use these exercises. We are providing classes for them. And there are specific, like, rare diseases where we can use these exercises. Scleroderma, for example, we are getting very good feedback. We are currently running a clinical trial at MUSC for studying how gentle yoga, like a movement on the chair and the breathing exercises, how they will be useful in these conditions to manage symptoms. And apart from that, you can use this for everyone. Anyone, as I mentioned, anyone who's breathing can do pranayama. And employee wellness right now is an important area. Many large companies are using mind-body techniques, or game rooms, or other ways to kind of entertain people, to keep them happy. And unfortunately, right now, we are all home. I mean, not all. A lot of people are working from home. So this gives a lot of burden to our physical and emotional status. So how we can manage that stress because of everything that's happening around us. So this is one way of dealing with that. Different pranayama exercises will help us to relieve that stress and breathe better. So many different areas that I don't have time to talk about today, but I will be definitely interested in conducting workshops and providing seminars on individual topics like aging. What do we do in aging? How do we do that in weight loss programs, or cancer survivorship programs, or in resilience of physicians, of residents, medical residents? How do we use these ones? So just I wanted to summarize that, how yogic breathing techniques can change the biology. That's number one. You change the biochemicals, or factors, small molecules that you will be able to produce within your system. So that is number one. Number two, what are these different molecules? Characterization of these molecules. That is number one, number two. And then we have what are the different functions of those molecules? They can be tumor suppressors, immune response regulators, or boosters, or things that will be helpful for the induction of your neuronal pathways. And those are important things. And then is it acceptable by patients and caregivers? Yes, definitely. We have so much of evidence that patients across, or participants across different disease and wellness, well-being areas, they can use these exercises, accept these exercises, do it successfully. And then they also believe that, perceive that there is a lot of improvement in their mood, their relaxation, their appetite, pain. In different areas, they find improvement. Large studies are kind of needed, and some of them are currently underway in our lab. Then we also have, like, it is feasible in various settings, community settings, hospitals, offices, in you name it. You can devise methods to improve well-being in any specific place. So I just want to thank our collaborators, funding organizations, departments that support our research, radiation oncology and SCTR, COBRE, and the lipidomics COBRE. And I have some funding from the private institutions like Pure Action and a place of my prior employment, Gazes Cardiac Research Institute, and other social organizations where we are doing these exercises. So, and I wanted to say one more thing. So currently we have 3 goals for understanding the ancient science. So one is to kind of understand the mechanism, the science behind it. Second one is to provide these exercises to multiple patient population and study that, create evidence base. And the third one is to disseminate, like the forum like here. So how do we make everyone aware of the techniques, aware of the knowledge? So this is dissemination. So we have 3 goals: finding the mechanism, giving it to the right people in the right way, and then dissemination of the knowledge. So these are the 3 goals for this particular yoga research chair that we are interested in establishing. So you probably know that there is a Harvard Tamil chair which is already established in in the process of being established, but the amount of money was collected from all over the world. It was there, and the Harvard is currently recruiting for that place. Here we are trying to establish a yoga research chair, a specific endowed chair for conducting yoga research. Other chairs will be doing Tamil related or linguistics and arts and so on, but this is specifically for yoga tradition, studying the yoga and how this will be useful for the world. So that is the reason why we are trying to establish this the currently tentatively named Tirumular Tamil Chair for Yoga Research. If you go to the link here, harvardtamilchair.org/Tirumular, you will be able to find information on it. Please share this information. If you have any donors in the audience, if there are donors, this is a tax-exempt nonprofit organization. Please feel free to donate. And I conduct a lot of my workshops for raising money for this yoga research. So it goes directly to the Tamil chair. It goes nonprofit, you're tax exempt again. And this will help us to put a place for this yoga research thing to kind of come up and then stay forever in perpetuity. So it is very important for all of us to join together to establish this and help us the ancient traditional knowledge to be kind of understood more, to spread to the needy people throughout the globe, right? So with that, I thank all the sponsors and people who kind of helped me to share the word, different media and so on. So with that, I just stop the slide share here, and then I'll be happy to take any question. Oh, okay, before taking questions, why don't we do 10 minutes of practice, right? So let's go ahead and do the practice first, and then we can do the questions, okay? So this exercise or the set of exercises that we are going to do can be practiced by anybody. Doesn't matter you're young or old, pregnant, not able to breathe, epileptic, so on. If you're feeling any discomfort, stop the exercise. That's the only thing. Any lightheadedness or feeling any discomfort, you stop the exercise, continue with normal breathing. Don't force yourself. You know your body. I don't know it. And if you think you can do it, you can do it, and do it mildly in the beginning, and then you can build it up. And there are videos. If you just Google my name, there are videos. You can go watch those videos, watch that step by step, learn it very slowly, properly. They always say that so the student will come to the guru, and then the guru will teach one technique. When can I learn the next one? come after 12 years. No, I want to learn it. I'm good. I'm a good learner. I want to learn fast. My parents are waiting. I have to go back. Okay, it might add a few more years. So the more rushed we are, the later it will be. So don't rush into the practice. Go deeper within yourself. Okay, that's the most important thing. Okay, it doesn't matter how you're sitting, where you're sitting. I'm sitting on the floor with the meditation cushion, cross-legged. You can use any mudra. This is the jnana mudra to learn with humility. Sit it on your knees. Gently close your eyes. Bring your awareness to the tip of the nostrils. What is happening at the tip of the nostrils? The breathing enters and exits. That's all we know. Sense the speed, sense the temperature, any other sensation at the tip. You are nowhere else except for the tip of the nostrils. Even if you don't do anything, you will notice that your breathing is slowing down. You are beginning to take your breathing a little longer. ஆழ் மூச்சு. மூச்சை மெதுவா இழுத்து மெதுவா விட ஆரம்பிப்போம். We are slowly starting to inhale deeper, starting to exhale longer. ஒவ்வொரு மூச்சும் மெதுவா உள்ள போது மெதுவா வெளியில வருது நாசி வழியா. And what you always notice is the tip of the nostril. But your awareness also moves inwards to the chest and maybe to the tummy, your abdomen. You will notice the abdomen moves up and down or back and forth very slowly. அடி வயிறு நல்லா உள்ள தள்ளும் மூச்சு வெளியில விடும்போது, மூச்சு இழுக்கும்போது அடி வயிறு வெளியில வரும். Breathe in to see the abdomen bulging out, and then slowly fill the lower ribs and the upper chest. And breathe out from top to bottom. Tuck the tummy in completely. மூச்சை கீழே இருந்து மேலே இழுக்கிறோம், மேலே இருந்து கீழே வெளியில விடுறோம். அடி வயிறு நல்லா உள்ள குழியணும். மூச்சு விடும்போது you are able to kind of notice the boundaries of your breathing, the physical boundaries. From the abdomen to the collarbones. Now, when we count the number of breaths per minute, this is not going to be 15 times. We breathe very slow, very deep. This gives signal to the brain to work on better things than being stressed out. The wandering mind comes back to you. The horse, the breath, is under your control. The mind is riding on it very slowly. Now breathe out completely. Breathe in nicely, deeply, all the way up to the collarbones. And as you breathe out, you can either chant Om, or you can just simply hum, like that. So nice. Take a nice deep breath. Every single inhalation followed by complete exhalation as you chant or hum. Continue at your own pace. Now come to normal breathing and watch the breathing. Watch any sensation in your mouth, any moisture in your eyes. Watch the peace. Gently open your eyes. Now, the next exercise we are going to do, I'm going to show the Tirumular Pranayama, where the inhalation is 2 counts and the holding is for 8 counts, and 4 counts is for the exhalation. Okay, I have that, put that in the chat window. So you're using left nostril for inhalation, right nostril for exhalation. I mentioned to you earlier about the calculations. Say if I'm using a mantra, I'm going to chant that mantra twice within my mind as I inhale through the left nostril. So the inhalation is going to be something like this. So that's a complete inhalation. Mel kir nadupakkam mikura purit. So all the 3 parts that we were working on, the tummy, the lower ribs, upper chest, everything has to completely fill in. That's how your inhalation should be in that 2 counts. Then you completely hold both nostrils for 8 counts. So 8 counts is for the same chanting is going on in your mind. Hold that for 8 times and then breathe out through the right nostril for 4 counts. Complete exhalation. Right? Once you exhale completely, you are ready to inhale, starting from the other side. Right? If I always get this question, if I'm not able to hold for 8 counts, what do I do? You can hold as long as you're comfortable. The important thing is inhale fully, hold as long as you can, exhale completely. This is important in terms of improving your circulation, cleansing your body. So whenever there is an improvement in the circulation, what happens? Your nourishment goes in, delivered, supply, and removal of garbage. So that happens at the mind and at the body. Okay? Now, let me show you one round and then you can do it. Starting with the inhalation. And the next round starts. So you can use any chanting that you like or anything that you want to say to yourself to feel empowered. That's what you're going to do. So try this a few rounds. And if you have nostril blockage, like mine, left nostril is blocked, right is blocked. So don't try this exercise when there's a huge blockage, but otherwise, normally there will be some nasal kind of asymmetry. One will be more closed than the other one. That's normal. That's okay. And just try that a couple of rounds or try it later. So if you have nasal blockage, just breathe in through both nostrils open, breathe in, hold, and breathe out in the same ratio. Okay. I see some children around. I'm super excited to see them trying something, some exercises, very good. As long as you're able to do that, that's totally fine. Normally about within 9 or 10 years, they won't be able to do it, but they may mimic. That's fine. All they try to do is just kind of inhale, hold. Humming is a great exercise for them. So when they are not able to do it, they can do the humming. If they can do it, they can do it. Once you finish a round, you can come to normal breathing. Watch the breathing. You can open your eyes. So you saw that how the breath holding is able to kind of calm our system. Like there is a good way of whenever we are exhaling, our heart gets the rest. When we are holding the breath, there is a good improvement of circulation. It also can stimulate salivation, more tears, moisture in the whole system. When people have dry mouth issues, they can try these exercises. We all know how to walk, but do we walk? Now you know there is a breathing exercise, you learned it. What's important? Practice. You practice more, you do more, you'll get more benefit. That's very simple. You don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to learn these breathing exercises. But it's important for us to understand the mechanism, how you are able to use these exercises in patient population, create more evidence, generate more evidence, and then how we are able to bring this wealth of information to the whole entire world for the humanity all the time, especially at this time of pandemic. So let's practice, let's spread the good news, let's kind of spread good health in us, in our family, in our community. With that, even before we take the questions, I want to end the session with a chant. I know some might be leaving, so I wanted to end the session with a chant from Tirumantram. You're welcome to repeat after me. Ullam perungoil ஊனுடம்பு ஆலயம் வள்ளல் பிரானார்க்கு வாய்கோபுரவாசல் தெள்ளத் தெளிந்தார்க்கு சீவன் சிவலிங்கம் கள்ளப்புலனைந்தும் காளாமணி விளக்கே reverence to Tirumular, all the siddhas and gurus. Let me conclude this session. Thank you all for joining. And thanks again to the wonderful Presidency College team for organizing this. And thanks for everyone who's here to listen and practice with us. Thank you. And I'll be now happy to take some questions or whatever I hand over the podium to Dr. Abdul Rahim or the team.
Sir. Madam Shivakumari, madam, can you consolidate the questions put on the chat box, madam? Now I am allowing the chat box also. In between some disturbances, a lot of feedback inquiries in chat. So some of the participants, they felt that the chat should be disabled. I disabled the chat. Actually, please don't ask about the feedback because it was already sent to the mail and for 1,000 participants, and the remaining 800 participants will be sent tomorrow. That's what we have given in the mail clearly. Okay, now let us go for the question session. There are two options for going for questions. One, you can put the questions on the chat box, which will be consolidated by either Shivakumari madam or myself to the resource person, or you can raise your hand, then we will allow you to unmute, then you can unmute yourself and speak with the resource person in person directly, virtually. Madam, and also YouTube participants, now about hundreds of participants are watching the event in YouTube also. Some of them also posting some questions. I will tell one question from Gayatri madam. Is there any remedy for Alzheimer's disease? It is from YouTube.
Yes, remedy for Alzheimer's, as I mentioned, pranayama alone would not be a remedy, right? So now the world is realizing the potential of integrative wellness or integrative medicine, integrative health, however you call. You cannot treat a person with one thing. Thiruvalluvar says very well, உற்றவன் தீர்ப்பான் மருந்து உழைச்செல்வான் என்று அப்பால் நாட்கூற்றே மருந்து. The மருந்து, medicine, means there are four things involved: the patient, the doctor, the medicine, and the accessory ones. Like உழைச்செல்வான் means anything that goes with them. It can be a caretaker, it can be the atmosphere, it can be other behavioral things or lifestyle modifications. You have to change a lot of things in treating a patient. So you have to bring in several steps together including medicines. There are over 1,000 clinical trials going on right now about Alzheimer's disease, including the one that I was talking about, the intracranial injection of nerve growth factor, right from coconut oil or omega-3 fatty acids or different music therapies, so many different things. And then this is one potential thing that can be used. So people can definitely use these exercises to, kind of reduce or prevent, right? So prevent the disease onset. When you are young, don't wait for the disease to come to you. When you are young and able to do these exercises, so you will be able to kick the death away, right? ஏற்றி இறக்கி இருகாலும் பூரிக்கும் காற்றை பிடிக்கும் கணக்கறிவாளர் இல்லை, காற்றை பிடிக்கும் கணக்கறிவாளருக்கு கூற்றை உதைக்கும் குறி அது ஆமை. So you can kick the death away. Eventually we are all going to die, this body is going to perish, but Tirumular says it is possible to put the death away by doing the breathing exercises. So this will be, I see Parkinson's there. So it will be the same thing for stroke rehabilitation, Parkinson's, or even any other neurodegenerative diseases like we need proper amount of supply of nerve growth factor in the system, even for the heart to function properly. So when this is happening, when you're doing these exercises, you're providing the nerve growth factor all over the system. So you will be able to, kind of prevent the disease or be able to kind of delay the onset. Okay.
Sir. Then some of the participants, they wanted to speak you directly. One, Mr. Guru Prasad.
Sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir. Sir, I have two questions to ask.
Sure.
Sir, my first question is, have you studied any correlation between yogic breathing and the Siddha polyherbal formulation for respiratory diseases, sir?
Yeah, we haven't studied, but it is, as I mentioned, there is a lot of correlation. There are some personal experiences. In my case, whenever there is allergy, I don't just do the breathing exercises. I also take other herbal preparations. So that's the normal way. So there is a lot of interaction. There will be a lot of interaction between the lifestyle modification herbal preparations. And in fact, some of my collaborators in Manipal, Dr. Arulamudan, we have been trying to see how the herbal preparations and pranayama can be put together in some of the disease conditions. Yeah, it's a very vibrant area to work on, because now we have a upsurge of how the Kabasura Kudineer, Nilavemba Kudineer, Aradore, all the things are coming up from the Siddha tradition. And on the other side, there is this pranayama methods are coming together. Definitely, these are all important modalities, not going to work alone to its fullest capacity. So this may be working 50%, this is 50%, or some kind of ratio. We don't know. So we have to put them all together. That's what I see in COVID patients, how they are treated in some of the government hospitals in Tamil Nadu. They teach pranayama, they give the Kabasura Kudineer, they do the healthy, nutritious food. So it is a combination of so many different things, definitely. Yeah. I see a question about the autoimmune diseases by yogic breathing. So one of the things is like the aggravated immune response. So it is the scleroderma or many other disease conditions have some autoimmune components as well. Some of the allergic responses, they also have the autoimmune background. Definitely the inflammatory part of the autoimmune diseases can be kind of controlled with some of the breathing exercises when we produce like large molecular weight proteins like mucin or the salivary agglutinin. Those are the large molecular weight proteins that can kind of sequester or just take the small molecular weight growth factors or other inflammatory factors away, so the inflammatory condition can be reduced a little bit and the aggravation can be taken down. Again and again, I want to make sure that you don't take me saying pranayama can cure everything. No, pranayama can prevent a lot of diseases. Pranayama can help your longevity. Pranayama can give you a very healthy life. But once you get the disease, you have to take care of your body through all the different ways of standards of care. Whatever is there in the medical field as the cure, you have to follow that along with pranayama, definitely.
Next, Mr. Thamodaran. Mr. Thamodaran wants to speak with you, sir.
I think he's muted.
Mr. Thamodaran, you can unmute yourself and you can speak with the resource person.
By that time,
okay. Next participant, the name. Next participant, the name is not that, the device name only 32 something like that. I will ask the participant to unmute. You can unmute and you can speak with the resource person.
Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, I think it's Thamodaran. Okay, sir, please.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. The person with that means breathing difficulties will be
I think you're breaking up, Mr. Damodaran. நீங்க பேசுறது எனக்கு தெளிவா கேட்கல.
Battery low.
சார், அதாவது அவர் சின்ன குழந்தையா இருக்காரு, 7 வயசு. அவருக்கு வந்து பிரீத்திங் டிஃபிகல்டிஸ் நிறைய இருக்கு, வீசிங் அப்பப்ப வந்துகிட்டே இருக்கு. சோ என்ன மாதிரி ஈஸி?
ஓ, 7 years old. அப்ப 7 வயசு. இப்போ நான் வந்து இதுல தனியான கன்சல்டேஷன்லாம் கொடுக்க முடியாது. நிச்சயமா வந்து அந்த அளவுக்கு வந்து நம்ம தனியா பேசி அதான் செய்யணும். இதுல வந்து பொதுவான கேள்விகள் மட்டும் கேட்கலாம். ஆனா ஒரு விஷயம் நான் என்ன சொல்லுவேன் அப்படின்னா, எவ்வளவு குழந்தைகள் வந்து நம்ம 4 மாச குழந்தையில இருந்து நம்ம மூச்சு பயிற்சியை ஒரு விதமா நம்ம கற்றுக் கொடுத்துட்டு இருக்கோம். குழந்தைகளுக்கு நம்ம ரொம்ப சின்ன வயசுல இருந்து நம்ம கற்றுக் கொடுத்துருக்கோம். அதான் நம்முடைய பண்பாடு. அதுல நிறைய பண்பாட்டு கூறுகள் இருக்கு, எப்படி நம்ம அதை சொல்லிக் கொடுக்குறோம் அப்படிங்கிறதுல. அதனால சின்ன வயசுல இருந்தே நமக்கு வந்து இந்த மந்திரங்களை உச்சரிக்கிறது, திருக்குறளை ஓதுறது, யாதானும் நாடாமாலூராமாலென் ஒருவன் சாந்துணையும் கல்லாதவாறு. You can sing one திருக்குறள் in one breath, or you can sing one Tirumantram in one breath also. So one mantra, take one Gayatri mantra, take a deep breath and then do the whole thing in one breath. So how you are able to use breathing as a way of chanting as a way of breathing. So this is the easiest way children can do. Children can do humming, om chanting. These are all breathing exercises. I have an audio album called Chanting is Pranayama, which is available on YouTube. You can listen to that. There are so many interesting chanting methods. You can follow anything that you like. These are all good for children and also for older people. The humming is a great exercise that early on that people even recently, that's how the humming is able to use nitric oxide in sinuses. That is a good way of kind of improving your breathing. So a lot of these newer information or some older information is also there, and Brahmari is specifically is one of the breathing exercises kind of approved by the Ayush, the government of Tamil Nadu, as one of the ways of managing the disease. And breathe. If you look into the response, right? Whenever we are not able to kind of breathe well, or when we are going through some sickness, what do we do? So that's the humming is the natural healing response. You extend that humming with some postures, that's called the Brahmari. So you don't have to put the postures all the time. You can do the humming exercise normally. So this is all done very easily by children. Children can learn so many different breathing exercises in a nicer manner. And breathing difficulties, how you are able to use the tongue for chanting, that also takes care of a lot of issues with the throat It's a beautiful science. There's so much information out there. I'm not able to provide all the informations in this forum, but definitely I'll be happy to talk in other areas for a longer, deeper sessions.
Sir, next, Mr. Narasimhan. Mr. Narasimhan, you can unmute yourself and you can. Mr. Narasimhan, you unmute yourself. We asked you to unmute. Please unmute and. Yeah.
Hello.
Narasimhan.
Thanks for the college and thanks for the good opportunity. Sir, ஒரே கொஸ்டின் தான். இது எப்ப பண்ணலாம்? அப்ப எந்த மாதிரி கண்டிஷன்ல இருக்கணும்? எம்டி ஸ்டமக் அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கணுமா? அதை மட்டும் கொஞ்சம் சொல்லுங்க போதும். Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good question. So normally all the breathing exercises, if you take a breathing exercise, it is good to do that in empty stomach or at least 2 hours after you had your last meal. So இது வந்து சாப்பிட்டதுக்கு அப்புறம் ஒரு 2 மணி நேரம் கழிச்சு நீங்க செஞ்சீங்கன்னா நல்லது, அல்லது சாப்பாட்டுக்கு முன்னாடி செய்யணும். பொதுவா நான் என்ன சொல்லுவேன்னா, காலையில வெறும் வயித்துல, மத்தியானம் வெறும் வயித்துல, சாயங்காலம் வெறும் வயித்துல, அப்படி இந்த பயிற்சிகளை செய்யறது நல்லது. ஏன்னா உங்களுக்கு நல்ல there is a lot of space for you to breathe well, so you will be able to breathe in and out nicely. So morning, afternoon, and evening before meal is a good time, and do this for 24 minutes. So according to Tirumular, 24 minutes. Narigai sadika. So it's 24 minutes is a good timing for your mindfulness also. Like if you can do meditation for 2 minutes. That's not a question. But if you can go deeper into the practice for a period of say 15 minutes or 30 minutes, that is a good timing. So it is important that you practice this for about minimum of 10 minutes. I'm saying 10 minutes because within 10 minutes we were able to see some of the changes in the salivary pathways. So it is important to keep the practice at least for a minimum of 10 minutes, and there is no upper limit. I would say the upper limit cannot be fixed for many of the pranayamas. Of course, there are some fast breathing exercises. There are high frequency exercises you cannot do for longer times, but there are many exercises that you can do for really longer times, like 1 hour easily. 1 hour exercise, you can watch the breathing very easily. Okay, so that's why the pranayama is a vast field. There is not just one nadi suddhi. Whenever people talk about I do pranayama, means nadi suddhi. There are at least 50 different exercises in the Siddha tradition, at least, I would say.
Madam, Beena.
Thank you, sir. Sir, is it possible to cure hyperthyroidism by yoga? If possible, can you tell me some yoga steps?
So hyperthyroidism again is the problem with the Visuddhi, right? So Visuddhi Chakram is one of the places where we coordinate your speech, swallowing, and breathing, all of these things, including the thyroid's ability. And it is also, it's part of the HPA axis. So when you are able to regulate that, HPA, the pituitary, hypothalamus, and adrenal limb axis. So you are able to provide some of the regulation to the thyroids also, thyroid functions as well. So the Visuddhi chakra can be easily activated by yoga asanas and the breathing exercises. There are even the Bhujangasana, where you're able to raise or stretch your throat nicely, Sarvangasana, or the Matsyasana, fish pose, Meenasana. All those poses can be a good exercise to the neck, and also like simple neck rotation if your neck doesn't have any other injuries or other things. So you are able to do those exercises for the Visuddhi chakra. And for the Visuddhi, chanting is a great exercise, and exercises like the Uchi pranayama or the Ujjayi pranayama. or the ocean sound breathing. That is also a good one. And there are other sophisticated methods that, depending upon the situation or the person, we will be able to take care of that. Again, it's not the only solution. You can treat that with other means also, and always try to use this as an adjunct.
Dr. Pranav. Dr. Pranav.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Sir, I am a student of yogic science and naturopathy. I want to do research in the yogic sciences, sir. And what I need to understand about basic science to do research?
The yoga research can be done from multiple angles. So you can be a student of mechanical engineering and do some studies in yoga. The reason I'm saying this is that this is an emerging field that utilizes many different technologies and many different areas of science. So, or engineering, math, whatever we call it. So there are some recent advances in understanding how the nasal breathing or modeling of the nasal airways and how the nasal airflow can be manipulated, how it can be studied with the sound or the computer simulations. There are so many areas in that way. And you can study that from the angle of treatment. So how we can design yoga methods for the well-being of patients. You can study by creating evidence for different diseases. You can pick one disease, administer different yoga exercises or breathing exercises, or you can do mechanistic studies. And if I do this exercise, what happens? You can do that with physical means, or you can do that by molecular methods or neuroscientific methods. You can do imaging, neuroimaging studies are out there in meditation, during meditation, and long-term meditators. There are so many different areas. Or you can study the linguistics, like how the Tamil literature is enriched with the yoga information, how we can understand that, interpret that in different ways, right? So those are all important areas. So it is it's any practice, like even if you're thinking about the modern blockchain or the artificial intelligence, you can use those information for yoga. How that's one of the important things in telehealth now. So I'm here teaching yoga exercises for everyone around the way. So it is it's up to you where your passion is. Like if you want to study yoga, you take another area, important area that is going to feed you for the rest of your life. Yoga alone cannot feed you, because there are so many yoga studios out here that are closing, right? Because of the social distancing issues. So you keep your passion in education. Study that, either the biology side or medicine or engineering side. Go deep into that, and then have yoga as a way of understanding. Like you want to generate the tools through your education to understand yoga. That should be the goal. Does it make sense? Good. Very good.
Vanitha madam, Dr. Vanitha madam. Dr. Vanitha madam, unmute yourself and speak, madam. Dr. S. Prasad. Dr. S. Prasad.
Thank you, sir. Sir, good evening, sir. Sir, good evening. I am Dr. S. Prasad. Sir, I am Dr. Prasad from Paramakudi. I have one query, sir. Based on our ancient yogic text, it says every human body has 72,000 nadis are present in the human body, especially in the pranic body. But how much it is relevant to the nervous system? It is more relevant or not? It is my first question.
I see that the plexus, right? The major plexus in the whole body can be easily related to the 10 nadis. The தச நாடிகள் சொல்றேன் 10 நாடிகள் இந்த 10 நாடிகளை வந்து plexus வாரியா நம்ம பிரிக்கலாம். So the 10 nadis can be related to the plexus, and also the plexus can be the places of our chakra system. The 6th chakra or the 7th chakra, they all can be related to the nerve plexus arranged on the spine. In the same way, those plexus can be arranged in the 10 nadis as well. The 72,000 minor nadis can be the nerve termini that are running all over the system. So the awareness of those nadis can be stimulated by different means. Like you can stretch and become aware of those nadis, right? You can breathe in and out in different manners to get awareness in those areas. So the nadi system, or it's basically, think about the nervous system all over the body. You can bring the awareness. How do we do this goosebumps, right? How do we get the goosebumps? This mainly because of sudden impulse to the nerves, right? So the same way, you can stimulate the nervous system through the pranayama, through various pranayama. Not just Nadi Siddhi, not just the alternate nostril breathing. Other pranayama methods are also there to send your awareness to various places. That's why I mentioned Manmanam Yengundu, Vayum Angundu. If you think about the place, right? If you think about your feet, what happens at that point? You are able to connect your thought with that spot. So there is a neuronal connection in that spot. Whenever there is neuronal connection, the nerve termini is producing neurochemicals in that area. The neurochemicals will start, kind of either transmitting, or it is also producing an environment where there is more flow of energy, more need of oxygen in that space. So this is one of the ways that the MRI, both the MRI or the functional magnetic resonance image is working. So when there is a blood flow, there is more oxygen consumption in that area. There is more blood flow. That based on that, you get a signal. So Vayum Angundu means that wherever you're thinking about any particular spot inside your system, there is an activation of neurons in that area that helps the circulation in that place. So this happens with the asanas, right? So you stretch, you bend, contract all the muscles. That is bringing in the circulation. Here, you're doing it is more subtle. That's why pranayama is more subtle than the physical postures. But physical postures help you to understand the intricacies or the subtleness of these ones. And even in breathing exercises, there are like the exercises that can stimulate all these nerves, and just to create that an ambience of you are able to see it, and then that will take you to a place where you won't be seeing it. So that subtlety you are able to feel that through pranayama. So it's a deeper area. We can
thank you, sir. Another one clarification, sir. In science says the oxygen, it's called prana sakti, but our ancient text says prana. But how much it's relevant? Because in prana means is a micro or macrocosmic energy. In human body means microcosmic energy. But how much relevant with oxygen and cosmic energy or prana? It's maybe
again, there are all the things for longer discussions, but I'll just to give you a quick answer. So the prana is one of the 10 vayus, like dasa vayus, right? Prana is the one that we take in. So the air that we take in is the prana sakti, is the vital, the carrier of vital energy. That vital energy is going to be manifesting in 10 different forms, in different ways. Apana, Samana, Bhyan, and all the different types of vayus are going to do their function in specific places within our body. So this prana is just, it is not just the oxygen, it is even the nitrogen has a role in our awareness of the breathing. So the oxygen is only 21%. So when we breathe in, the speed of the airflow, without the nitrogen, we won't be able to have the flow of the nitrogen or the weight of the air impinging on our olfactory bulbs. That's not possible. So you need nitrogen also. So that is also an induction of our prana energy or the flow of the prana. So it is very, again, subtle. The gas is not prana, oxygen is not prana. We are inhaling oxygen. Oxygen is one of the molecules that brings us the energy, form of energy. That alone is not prana Shakti.
Mr. Tarun.
Sir, thank you, sir. I am thank you for the opportunity. Sir, is there any pranayama for urticaria, sir?
I cannot hear you right.
Sir, is there any pranayama for urticaria? Urticaria.
For urticaria?
Yes, sir.
So again, these can be very personal questions. You can have it. Definitely, the several skin conditions like psoriasis. This is mainly because of problems with the immune functions or problem with the inflammation or circulation, basically microcirculation, the capillaries, and so on. So it can be managed along with other things, but please, you can contact me. We can try some exercises, but I give no guarantees to anybody for any disease.
The participant side questions are over. Then when direct questions, Shivkumari madam, if any chat questions, you can consolidate, madam.
You can also contact me. I've provided my TEDx talk link, and then this is my website address, pranascience.com. You can contact me through the form in the website, or you can also write to me at pranascience@gmail.com. If you have any questions, if you like any consultation, or if you want to organize any seminars or deeper workshops, teach trainings, this is the way. Or if you want to help with the Harvard Tamil Chair or the Tirumular Tamil Chair initiative and wanted to organize a fundraiser workshop, I will be more than happy to do it.
Shivkumari madam, please. Shivkumari madam, please, madam. Any chat questions you can. Huh? Yeah. Hello. Madam, you are not audible, madam. Shivkumari madam.
Sir.
Yes. Now you can.
Is it okay? Nowadays, youngsters are restless. They are restless. They have that restless attitude. They are most time they are sticking to their gadgets and video games like that. What can be done to change that attitude?
Yes, stress is a major cause of several diseases. If you look into the underlying cause of either pain or depression, even cancers, we need stress. We need some level of stress for improving our performance, to learn, and in kind of expanding our horizons. We need stress. But when the stress is constant and there is no countermeasures that we are operating in, then that becomes very deleterious to the system. The chronic stress is bringing in inflammation, and then that again is going to increase the tissue injuries. So that's one of the reasons that you had to go back to the root cause of the diseases right? The Noi Mudal Nadi Adu Thanikum. So what you are going back to the root is the stress becomes the root for several illnesses. One of the easiest ways in which you can manage stress is through pranayama. As I showed in the previous slide, what it is, what we show is that the breathing is one way of approaching the mind and the body. You think about you're getting really angry at something. So what we normally can do is that take a deeper breath and then breathe in and out very slowly. So when we do those kind of a deeper, slow breathing, we are providing rest to the physiology, like our ability to kind of slow down on the heart rate a little bit, or breathe better, kind of slowing down on the overall stress response. But also we are providing enough, kind of the peace of mind. So your mind is kind of controlled. It is not going out fast. It is coming into you. So you are able to change the stress response by you in a much seasoned manner. You will learn this is not going to happen tomorrow. Like when we are having a conversation or argument at home, we are not going to be like changing completely, but by slow practice. That's why I said like 12 years. It might take 12 years for us to change something, or I would say like 90 days. 90 days, if you constantly practice something, it'll be a good way to change yourself, right?
Okay. Sir, there is another question. Many of them are asking, can this pranayama cure lifestyle diseases like high BP or diabetes and low hemoglobin level, PCOD, menstrual cycle, disc prolapse, back pain, like that, whatever, all lifestyle diseases, can it be cured by pranayama?
Yes. So the pranayama practice again is not the sole healer, right? So you're going to take it along with many different conditions. So if you look into the high BP, for example, so there are many chemicals that we produce within the system. For example, the kallikrein, or the product of kallikrein, the bradykinin. These are the hormones that are kind of stimulated within the system because of the breathing exercises. And there are different breathing exercises that will do the different forms, different ways of the physiological response can be stimulated. So too, you can increase the blood pressure or decrease the blood pressure. A heart rate can be the same way. And you can also, like one of the stress response questions, we can come back from the heart rate variability, how our heart is able to change its pace with respect to the demands that is facing. So all these things can be managed. So there are studies showing that hypertension can be reduced in people in like a 12-week of pranayama exercises, how they are able to normalize their blood pressure, and how so say sometimes the forced nostril pranayama can reduce the blood pressure, also the Chandranadi pranayama. And there are methods, even slow breathing exercises. I said that 15 times or 12 to 18 times is the normal breathing range per minute in average adult. If you bring this down to 6 breaths per minute, you will be able to control some of the diabetic complications. That was a study published earlier. So there are, if you look into back pain or any pain response in general, like diaphragmatic breathing, when you're engaging the diaphragm very fully with complete focus on the diaphragm, two things happen. One is that the vagal response or the relaxation response is being produced that will reduce the pain signal, because pain is partly physical, partly emotional. So that signal is kind of subdued. You will be having less pain episodes. There are other biochemicals that are going along with the breathing exercises that will help to reduce the pain signals. So that is another possibility for lower back pain. Of course, you can bring in asanas to correct some of those disc issues. So it is important that you have to always consider some of the other ways, like, and most importantly, nutrition, how you are eating, what you're eating. That's again is very important. You cannot eat everything and then do pranayama or the asanas and then expect them to be cured. So if you look into the Marundu or the medicine Adhikaram in Tirukkural, there will be only three couplets for the medicine. The remaining 7 of them are for food. So food is an important component in this particular healing response.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And sir, any other question, Rahim, sir?
No, madam. Let us go for the vote of thanks, madam.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So, of course, I mentioned, I actually thanked some of the dignitaries during my introductory speech. However, it is my duty to do the proper official vote of thanks. And at the outset, I must thank Dr. O.R. Devanathan, Principal in charge, Presidency College. He has been always a supporting force for us for all these events. And next, the superstar of this day, Dr. Sundar sir. So as I already mentioned, he could fetch the response across the globe. So he's a global face now. So he has taken our college to the global level also. So I must thank, and also, really was, though I'm doing somewhat pranayama in the Vajrasana positions, but sir, I could not compete with him while he is chanting the Om. I have to do twice or thrice for matching with his time duration of his Om chanting. Really amazing. Really, I learned a lot from sir. I thank sir for his excellent presentation. And in spite of his busy schedule, he is kind enough to allot time for us, and his valuable time he has spent for us for the Presidency College. Thank you very much, sir. Next, the event is actually organized with the help of some of the friends of Dr. Sundar sir, Dr. Yalango sir, Dr. Yuvraj sir, both from United States of America. So both of the persons, they helped a lot for actually conducting this program. Then, people used to say, for every success of the man, there will be a woman behind. But I will put it another way. For the success of Dr. Shivakumari Madam, there is a man behind, who is none other than Mr. of Shivakumari Madam, Mr. Sendil Kumar sir. Mr. Sendil sir is a software engineer, and he has been with us starting from the designing of invitation until the preparation of the very good certificate. You will all receive a very good certificate, and even we incorporated all the previous suggestions by the participants in the certificate, which will be sent to you all. So I thank Sendil sir for his dedication. Nowadays a concept of work from home evolved. And from work from home, another concept also evolved. The entire home is working for college. So now the entire home is working for college. So I thank Sendil sir, and of course our Shivakumari madam, head of the Department of Zoology. Uh, Many of the people from Tamil Nadu and even India, they know about the Shankar, film director Shankar. He used to do any film in a mega film. Likewise, madam, if she takes any event, she will make the event like a mega event, magnificent event. So in that order, she has made this particular international webinar also a mega event, and it is one more credit for she has so many credits. It is one among them. That's all. And I thank madam also for that. And Dr. Kalina madam, senior professor, senior most faculty in our department. She is very much cooperative for all the endeavors. I thank madam. Then, the coordination from our staff members. I used to say, with the strength of our staff members of zoology department, we can do any wonders. Such a very cooperative and efficient staff members we have. So I thank all the staff members of zoology department of Presidency College. Then I thank the HODs, the other department HODs who are present in this event, and the staff members from other departments of Presidency College. Of course, you know, the event success of the event is depending upon the participants. As I mentioned, the participants, about 2037 registered participants, and of course in the starting of program, about 480 participants in the online platform. Of course, hundreds of participants simultaneously was watching in the YouTube stream also. I thank all the participants, and some of the participants, they are regular participants for our webinars, even from Nigeria and other part of countries, the globe. So I invite those abroad participants, and of course the other state participants. Our college admission has commenced. It is a government college, government institution, and it is ranked number 5 among the all India institutions, arts and science colleges. So you can visit our website and you can pursue your undergraduate or postgraduate or even higher studies in our college. We are ready to welcome you all. So with this thing, I thank one and all, and I thank the Almighty also for the successful conduction of this particular event. Okay, thank you all. Thank you, madam. Okay, now if HOD madam permits, you know, now the meeting is officially over. If
Yes.
usually some of the participants, they want to have the discussion after completing the meeting also. Now I will open the meeting for the open discussion, but unmute one by one.
Okay.
Okay, you can, anybody want to say anything, you can please. Either our staff members, I think our previous joint directors and all here.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
I am Dr. Kamani from Karnataka. I put the question in Karnataka. What is the relation between the yoga and immunity? How you define by the scientific way, sir? Balasubramanian, sir?
Yeah, I hear you. So yeah, definitely it changes the physiological responses, right? It changes either through the neuroendocrine system. That's the main thing. So how yoga is changing the biomarkers, for example, through the neuroendocrine pathways. That is the major idea why yoga is working in the way it works. And it is also the neuromuscular connections. So changes in the muscular, pathways or the factors that are produced in the muscles, they all can be a way to change your immunity. So I explained about the mucosal immunity. So the things that, did you see the slide that I showed about the 22 different things? So that's one of the ways that how your mucosal immunity is stimulated.
It is very fundamental, sir. If everyone gets the proper immunity, 90% the health-related problem is over.
Sure.
That has to be done by everyone. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Any other question, please, from the participant side?
Any comments or anything you can make, please feel free. Even you can talk in Tamil also. Suppose somebody will be having the hesitation to speak in English, but anyhow you can speak in Tamil also, please.
Okay.
Sir,
Senthil Vadivel.
sir, vanakkam, sir.
Welcome.
Being a biochemist, how are you working in oncology department, sir?
No, so of course,
is,
oncology is understanding different cell signaling pathways in cancer cells is important, right? So that's how the cell biology part or the cellular signaling part is part of the understanding of oncology, how different drugs interact with different cell signaling pathways, and especially in respect to how the smoking behavior changes it. So that's basically the biochemistry is the underlying principle of all biological sciences. You cannot run away from biochemistry to do medicine, right? So if you look into the drug interactions with the different proteins, so how proteins change when a drug is activating or deactivating a cell. So all these things can be understood by biochemical principles, right? That's what we do. Yeah, definitely. Biochemistry is kind of a very broad subject that incorporates many methods, ways of analyzing, including whether it is in the cellular area or in the patient samples. It is very important.
Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Sir, I'm Ruby Helen from Annai Velankanis College, Chennai, sir. Sir, I have a small query, that is how to tackle some students in the class. They are found to be very restless, sir, emotionally. Sometimes they are fidgetive in their nature. So how to tackle such children, sir? Is there any?
Nichema, you can give them some physical exercises like top karna bodrathu. So those physical exercises are things like
Sorry,
chanting,
sir.
singing, right? So singing, chanting, those are very easy methods to kind of help them to focus on the class. There are several breathing exercises I teach for school children. So if children, like there's a pranayama called the Sheetkari pranayama, right? The smiling. Kids love this exercise. Like if you just say, let's do the Sheetkari, the Yilimuchi, right?
Hello.
So
Yes, sir.
breathe in through the mouth, out through the nostril. There are videos that I have shown this exercise. Try many modalities are available. Like the other thing is that kinesthetic learning, right? Some kids like to learn when their body is moving, right? Some kids like to read when they walk. So kind of allow or nurture that habit. It is okay if you're able to let them walk and give him the homework and let him walk and do the homework. That is totally fine. Or just ask him to do some physical postures. That will be a good way. So I wouldn't kind of restrict them not to do that, but channelize that energy in some way so they will be able to utilize that energy.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is Dr. Rao from Solapur, Maharashtra. First of all, congratulations.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Congratulations to the zoology department, especially department and BOS chairman. Wherever the zoologists go, they will come up with the flying colors. Congratulate HOD madam and IQAC coordinator, especially very active participation. Just one question, sir, Dr. Sundar, sir. What is the impact of yoga on the animal behavior?
Animal behavior?
Yes.
Very nice question. I like that. We have a little puppy for the past 1.5 months. So even though when we grew up in India, raising a dog is not a problem, right? So we have it. Every family has a dog, and they stay outside, and then we feed. But here it is entirely different. The dog has to be in the family, in the house with us, and 24/7. So this puppy has been this is a learning phase for him. He's now about 3 months old. So now he is learning a lot of different things. That 8 to 12 weeks is a very active learning period for the puppy. So many times what I find is like he would be coming in and staying next to me, watching me, and or taking a nap just next to me, listening to me. And sometimes when I'm on the mat doing some asanas, he'll jump on me, run over, all these things, right? So there are some like interesting types of yoga, like goat yoga. People allow the goats to walk on them. This is just a fun thing to do. And we also learn a lot of these practices from animal stretches, right? So the cat cow pose or the downward dog or other Matsyasana, locust pose. Many of these poses are basically learned from animals, like basically how they change their postures and so on. So I don't think there is any specific study on yoga done by the animals and their ability. But there are some animal studies where the breathing is abrupted or changed in some animals when certain genes are knocked out or altered. So in those cases, what happens to the brain or the structures of connectivity within the brain? Those are some of the studies in the neurosciences area. So it is not necessarily coming under the yoga discipline, but that gives a lot of insights. The animal studies are giving us a lot of insights about the molecular mechanisms of how these breathing exercises might work. So definitely, this is, of course,
good evening, sir.
Mind-body exercises will give them, peace. People take their puppies for massage sessions. So you give massage when you give the little rub, the belly rub to the puppy, he's calm, he's quiet. So it is the relaxation is not just a human thing. Everyone can relax. Good. Yeah, and zoologists can come up with some way of studying this. I'll be interested.
Hello. Sir,
Good evening. Sir, there is one question, sir. So I want to ask. Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, good evening.
Sir,
Good
please,
evening,
only one person at a time, sir, please.
Sir, good evening, sir. There is one question I want to
Go
ask.
ahead, Mr. Pankaj Mishra.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Sir, I want to ask one question, sir. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here listening.
Sir, sir, can I ask, sir?
Sure, go.
Sir, how can yoga should be globally helpful for the all the people on a larger scale?
All the people?
How yoga should be helpful and for all the peoples and for the old peoples globally on a larger scale.
Yeah, so that's where our third ambition, our third goal of the chair that I was talking about. So how to disseminate. There should be more and more teachers, more learning, more evidence. So when you have all those things, there'll be more people. There'll be a way that you can bring this knowledge to all the people. So it is not necessarily if you look into the history, there are times that religion was playing a major role in spreading messages. Literature was one of the ways, or history, or people through their arts and culture, they spread the message in so many different ways. This is the age of science and knowledge, right? So we are able to spread the message across through the medium of science. So that is the efficient manner right now. So if you use any of the other methods, it might reach a couple of people or a group of people, but if you use science, it will reach a broader global audience now.
Next, Sendil Vadivu, madam.
Sir, vanakkam, sir. பொள்ளாச்சியிலிருந்து தமிழ்நாடு. ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமா உங்களோட திருமூலர் திருமந்திரத்திலிருந்து நீங்க எடுத்து சொன்ன ஒவ்வொரு வார்த்தைகளும் ரொம்ப திருப்தியா சந்தோஷமா இருந்ததுங்க சார். அந்த 10 நிமிஷம் யோகா பிராக்டிஸ், பிராணாயாமா பிராக்டிஸ் நீங்க கொடுத்தது அப்படியே ஒரு மைண்ட் வேற லெவலுக்கு கூட்டிட்டு போச்சு சார். ஒரு பீஸ்ஃபுல் ஸ்டேஜுக்கு இருந்தது. நன்றி 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 சார்.
நன்றிமா, நன்றி. உங்களுடைய கருத்துக்களுக்கு நன்றி, கலந்துக்கிட்டதுக்கு நன்றி.
பழனி சார், அடுத்து பழனி சார் ரொம்ப நேரமா லைன்ல இருக்கிறாங்க. பழனி சார்.
பழனி அருணை காலேஜ் ஆஃப் எஜுகேஷன், திருவண்ணாமலை சார்.
வணக்கம் ஐயா.
Am I audible, sir? Hello.
கேக்குது ஐயா, சொல்லுங்க
ஐயா. இப்போ நாம தினந்தோறும் பிள்ளைகளுக்கு வகுப்பு எடுக்கிறோம். 1 மணி நேரம் நாம வந்து ஒரு வகுப்பு எடுக்கிறோம் அப்படின்னு சொன்னா அந்த 1 மணி நேர கற்பித்தலானது இதற்கு ஒரு யோகாவை நம்ம வந்து ஒரு பெயர் கொடுக்கணும் அப்படின்னா என்ன வகையான யோகாவா அது இருக்கும் ஐயா?
1 மணி நேரம் குழந்தைகளுக்கு எதை கத்துக் கொடுக்குறீங்க ஐயா?
பாடம் டெய்லி நம்ம பாடம் எடுக்கிறோம் கிளாஸ்ல.
யோக வகுப்பா இல்ல மற்ற வகுப்புங்களா ஐயா?
என்னங்கய்யா?
யோக வகுப்பா இல்ல மற்ற வகுப்பான்னு கேக்குறேன்.
மற்ற வகுப்பு, சாதாரண வகுப்பு. நான் சைக்காலஜி எடுக்கிறேன், 1 மணி நேரம் நான் சைக்காலஜி எடுக்கிறேன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க பிள்ளைகளுக்கு. அந்த 1 மணி நேரம் கவனமாக, மிக கவனமாக, வேற எந்த கவனச்சிதறலும் இல்லாம அந்த பிள்ளைகளுக்கு நான் வந்து வகுப்பு எடுக்கிறேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லும்போது இது வந்து ஏதாவது ஒரு யோகா பிராக்டிஸ் கீழே வருமா?
ஏன்னா வந்து ஒரு கவனத்தை நீங்க போக்கஸ்ன்னு சொல்றோம் இல்லையா, அந்த போக்கஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்றது வந்து அதுவே வந்து அது யோகம் அப்படின்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. ஒரு யோகத்தால நீங்க இந்த போக்கஸை நீங்க வளர்த்துக்க முடியும். நீங்க இந்த பயிற்சிகள்லாம் கொஞ்சம் முன்கூட்டி செய்யும் போது, அல்லது காலையில இந்த பயிற்சிகளை செஞ்சுட்டு வரும்போது, அல்லது வகுப்புக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு 5 நிமிடங்கள் 10 நிமிடங்கள் நீங்க இந்த பயிற்சிகளை செய்யும் போது, நடுவுல ஒரு பிரேக் எடுத்து அந்த பயிற்சிகளை செய்யும் போது அவங்களுடைய அந்த அவங்களுடைய நல்ல கவனம் குவிக்கப்படுறது இருக்கு இல்லையா, அது வந்து நல்லா மேம்படும். அவர்களுடைய அந்த நினைவாற்றல் எப்படி வந்து அவங்க மூக்கால சுவாசிக்கிறதுக்கும் வாயால சுவாசிக்கிறதுக்கும் நிறைய வித்தியாசம் இருக்கு. இப்போ வந்து சில குழந்தைகள் வந்து வாயால கூட சுவாசிச்சுட்டு இருக்கலாம். வந்து உங்களுடைய அருமையான பேச்சை கேட்டுட்டு அவங்க வந்து வாயை கூட திறந்துட்டு வாயால கூட சுவாசிக்கலாம் இல்லையா? அப்படி இருக்கும்போது மூக்கால சுவாசிக்கிற ஒரு திறன் இருந்துச்சுன்னா மூக்கால சுவாசிக்கும் போது அவங்களுக்கு நினைவாற்றல் மேம்படும் அப்படின்னு நிறைய ஸ்டடிஸ் இருக்கு. அது மாதிரி அதனால என்ன செய்யலாம் அப்படின்னா, நீங்க இந்த பயிற்சிகளை வந்து கொடுத்துட்டு அல்லது நடுவில் கொடுத்துட்டு அல்லது கடைசியில கொடுத்துட்டு இதெல்லாம் செஞ்சீங்கன்னா இன்னும் உங்களுடைய வகுப்பு மேம்படலாம். அதனாலதான் நம்ம குருகுல சிஸ்டம் எல்லாம் அந்த காலத்துல வந்து மாணவர்கள் படிக்கும் போதெல்லாம் வந்து அது படிக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி இது மாதிரி சில மூச்சு பயிற்சிகள்லாம் செஞ்சுட்டு படிக்கிறது நமக்கு ஒரு வழக்கமா இருந்துச்சு. அதை வந்து இப்போ அண்மை ஆராய்ச்சிகளும் சொல்லுது, இது மாதிரி வந்து சில மூச்சு பயிற்சிகளை செஞ்சுட்டு நீங்க வந்து ஒரு சில ஹேண்ட் ஹெட் கோஆர்டினேஷன் எக்ஸசைஸ் எல்லாம் செஞ்சீங்கன்னா குறைகள் வந்து தப்பா இருக்கும், பிழைகள் வந்து குறைவா இருக்கும் அப்படின்லாம் கண்டுபிடிச்சிருக்காங்க. அப்ப அந்த பிழைகளை குறைக்கிறதுக்கு நீங்க இது மாதிரியான பயிற்சிகளை வந்து செஞ்சு காட்டலாம், செய்யலாம். அதே மாதிரி இங்க பிரின்சிபல் சொன்னாங்க இல்லையா, எல்லாமே வந்து யோகம் தான். நீங்க வந்து கடமையை சரியா செய்யறதே வந்து ஒரு யோகம். அதுதான் வந்து பக்தி யோகமா இருக்கட்டும், கர்ம யோகமா இருக்கட்டும், ஞான யோகமா இருக்கட்டும், இது எல்லாமே வந்து யோகத்தின் அடிப்படையில கொண்டு வரலாம். நம்ம வந்து ஒரு மனசு ஒப்பி இந்த புலங்களோடு கரணமும் ஆவியும் போந்து நின்ற வெறுப்புடன் மானுடன் நலங்கள் ஏதும் விரும்புவன் நாங்கவை நன்முறை பெற பின்னமதாம் அப்படின்வாங்க இல்லையா, அது மாதிரி நீங்க வந்து எல்லாம் புலங்கள் கரணம் ஆவி எல்லாத்தையும் ஒன்றாய் இணைத்து ஒரு விஷயத்த செய்கிறதே யோகம் தான். அதனால வந்து இதுதான் யோகம், இந்த மதத்துல இப்படி செய்யறதுதான் யோகம்னு கிடையாது. யோகம்ங்கிறது எல்லா மதங்கள்லயும் இருக்கு. எல்லா மதங்களும் வந்து ஒரு வகையான யோக முறைகளை உள்ள அடக்கிதான் வச்சிருக்கு. அந்த மைண்ட் பாடி பிராக்டிஸ் அப்படிங்கிறது எல்லா மதங்களுக்கும் எல்லா மனிதர்களுக்கும் இன்னொருத்தங்க கேட்டாங்க இல்லையா, ஜுவாலஜிஸ்ட், அதே மாதிரி விலங்குகளுக்கும் பொதுவான ஒரு விஷயம். அதை வந்து நம்ம எப்படி நம்முடைய மேம்பாட்டுக்காக உலக நன்மைக்காக நம்ம பயன்படுத்தி போறோம் அப்படிங்கிறது தான் முக்கியம்.
Hello. Good evening, Sundar sir. நான் பிரியா சார். நான் டீச்சரா இருக்கேன். நான் எடுக்கிற ஸ்டூடெண்டோட ஏஜ் பார் வந்து 7 years old. எங்க ஸ்கூல்ல ஃபியூ ஆட்டிசம் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் கண்டிப்பா இருக்கணும். சம்டைம்ஸ் அவங்க என்ன பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா சடனா கத்துவாங்க, சடனா எழுந்து வந்துருவாங்க. அது மாதிரி இருக்கும்போது நம்ம அவங்கள எப்படி கண்ட்ரோல் பண்றது? ஏன்னா ஒரு சில ஆட்டிசம் பசங்களுக்கு they will have the shadow teacher also. In spite of shadow teacher they will scream out of the range. அதை பார்த்துட்டு சம்டைம்ஸ் வேற நம்ம நார்மல் சைல்டு கூட they used to react. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கிற பட்சத்துல ஹவு வி ஹாவ் டு கண்ட்ரோல் இந்த மாதிரி பிராணாயாமம் வந்து அவங்கள கண்ட்ரோல் பண்றதுக்கு நமக்கு கிடைக்குமா? இட் வில் பி யூஸ்ஃபுல்.
இப்போ ஏடிஹெச்டி இது மாதிரி ஆட்டிசம் ஸ்பெக்ட்ரம் இதுல எல்லாம் வந்து பிராணாயாம முறைகளை வந்து நிறைய இப்போ செஞ்சுட்டு இருக்காங்க. நிறைய என்ன சொல்றது அப்படின்னா வந்து நிறைய யோக முறைகள், அதாவது ஆசன பயிற்சிகள் இருக்கு இல்லையா, ஆசன பயிற்சிகளாக இருக்கட்டும், மற்ற பிராணாயாம பயிற்சிகளாக இருக்கட்டும், வேறு சில அதாவது பிஹேவியரல் மெத்தட்ஸ் அது எல்லாமே இருக்கட்டும், எல்லாத்தையும் சேர்த்த மாதிரி அவங்க கொடுத்துட்டு இருக்காங்க. நிறைய நன்மைகளும் நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு. இது எல்லாமே வந்து ஒரு ஓவரால் ஒரு நியூரானல் ரெஸ்பான்ஸ். இது வந்து ஒரு டிரான்சியன்ட் தான். கொஞ்ச நாள்ல வந்து அவங்க வந்து சரியா போறாங்க, அல்லது வந்து ஈவன் நிறைய பேர் வந்து இப்போ மருந்துகள்லாம் எல்லாமே வந்து நலமாகிற மக்கள்லாம் இருந்துட்டு இருக்காங்க. ஏன்னா ஜஸ்ட் கிவ் தட் ப்ராப்பர் டைம். அப்போ அது மாதிரியான நேரத்தில் நிறைய என்னென்னலாம் வந்து நம்ம கொடுக்க முடியுமோ, இன்டகிரேட்டிவ் மெத்தட்ல என்னென்ன கொடுக்க முடியுமோ அது எல்லாத்தையும் கொடுக்கலாம். பிராணாயாமங்களை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் இவங்க வந்து நல்ல ஒரு ஆழ்மூச்சுக்கான பிராணாயாமங்கள், நிறைய ஹம்மிங் அல்லது சாண்டிங், அது எல்லாத்தையும் நிறைய செய்ய சொல்லலாம். இப்போ நான் வந்து ஒருத்தவங்களுக்கு வந்து முருகா அது மட்டும் தான் சொல்லுவேன். முருகா 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 மூச்சை இழுத்து அவங்க வந்து திருப்பி சொல்ல அந்த பையனுக்கு வந்து ஒரு அமைதி கிடைக்குது. அவங்களுக்கு வந்து ஒரு அது உள்ளே நிறைய விஷயங்கள் தூண்டப்படும். நீங்க வந்து பேச பேச அல்லது நாக்குல ஏற்படுற அதிர்வுகளால நிறைய விஷயங்கள் தூண்டப்படும். அப்போ அவங்களுக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி நீங்க வந்து முருகானை எல்லாருக்கும் சொல்ல முடியாது. சில பேருக்கு சொல்லலாம், சில பேருக்கு வேற விஷயங்கள் சொல்லலாம். அது மாதிரி விஷயங்களை நீங்க சொல்லிக் கொடுக்கலாம். சொல்லிக் கொடுத்து நம்ம சாண்டிங் வழியா குழந்தைகளை இந்த காலத்துல என்னன்னா பேசுறது ரொம்ப குறைஞ்சிருச்சு. குழந்தைகள் வந்து பேசுறது வந்து ரொம்ப ரொம்ப குறைஞ்சிருச்சு. இன்ட்ராக்ஷன் எல்லாமே வந்து ஸ்கிரீன் வழியா இருக்கு, அல்லது வந்து விளையாட்டு எல்லாமே வந்து ரொம்ப குறைச்சலான பேச்சு இருக்கு. அதனால வந்து நாக்குல இருந்து போற நமக்கு அதிர்வுகள், நாக்குல இருந்து கிடைக்கக்கூடிய சிக்னல்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்து ரொம்ப குறைஞ்சதுனால நமக்கு அந்த வகையில போற டெவலப்மெண்டல் கியூஸ் அதெல்லாம் இல்லாததுனால நமக்கு அந்த பாத்வே எல்லாம் சரியா திறக்காம இருக்கலாம். ஸோ அது எல்லாத்தையும் ஆக்டிவேட் பண்றதுக்கு நிறைய இது மாதிரியான மூச்சு பயிற்சி, அதாவது பேச்சு வழியா, பாட்டு வழியா, ஹம்மிங் வழியா, மூச்சு பயிற்சிகளை, உச்சாடானங்கள், சாண்டிங் வழியா கொடுக்கறது ரொம்ப முக்கியம். இது வந்து சின்னவங்களுக்கு மட்டும் இல்லை, பெரியவங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப ரொம்ப முக்கியமா இருக்கும். வயசானவங்களுக்கு, அவங்களுக்கு வந்து அந்த நினைவு குறைஞ்சு போறது, இது மாதிரியான மக்களுக்கெல்லாம் அது ரொம்ப யூஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கும்.
Thank you, sir. And sir, one more question. Sir, in the pranayama, only in the sitting posture la dhaan பண்ணலாமா? Because இப்ப இருக்கிற ஓகே இல்ல
ஒவ்வொரு விதத்துல செய்யலாம். சில பிராணாயாமம் நீங்க கார் ஓட்டிட்டு கூட செய்யலாம், நடந்துட்டு கூட செய்யலாம். ஆனா இந்த பிராணாயாமம் இப்போ இன்னைக்கு செஞ்சு காமிச்சதெல்லாம் வந்து இப்போ இந்த திருமூலர் பிராணாயாமம் பார்த்துட்டு செய்யுது. சில பிராணாயாமம் கூட செய்யலாம். ஸோ இது வந்து ஆளுக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி, அதான் சொன்னேன் இல்லையா, நிறைய அந்த மாதிரி நீங்க
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, hi.
Good evening, sir. I am Sanjay from Karnataka, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. Are you getting my voice?
Now you're breaking up.
Good evening, sir. I am Sanjay from Karnataka. Are you getting my voice, sir?
Yes, I hear you.
Sir, my question is that alternate breathing will be regulates the nadis, that's the channels, breathing channels. But the same way, in that breathing air is a mixture of that oxygen and nitrogen. You have already suggested that. How the nitrogen that gas will be played a very important role in the cleansing of the channels.
It may not be so the channels. So there are a couple of different things. The nitrogen, when I meant nitrogen, it is playing an important role as a carrier gas. So nitrogen is inert. Nitrogen is may not be playing a major role in the production of even nitric oxide or any such things, but it is important as a carrier gas. When the nitrogen, when you breathe in, you're not breathing in just the oxygen, you're breathing in the bolus of air, right? So that goes in, hits different parts of your nasal system, so that speed or the weight of the gas that you're inhaling or the signal that is going to the olfactory lobes is important. So those are kind of the mechanical sensors. So it contributes to the mechanical value of the breath. So that's why this is stimulating the neuronal responses, or stimulating. So when you're breathing, when you're causing a shear stress on a layer of cells, the cells will get stimulated. So that's how it is working.
Hi, this is Jagan from Hyderabad. Thank you for a wonderful session. In fact, thanks for sending your invitation to me. Otherwise, I would be difficult to know about this invitation. And thank you, Shivakumar Madam, for conducting this wonderful session. So my background is in the data science. I'm a data scientist, and I'm wondering how do I actually be part of this yoga research, and especially I was actually going through your research as well as the books that you published, 2 books, and it's wonderful. I started actually underlining each line, and at the end I thought it's going like underlining every sentence. So that much of wonderful knowledge that I'm gaining. And yeah, I'm a data scientist, and I'm seeing where do I actually contribute in this part of this yoga, especially pranayama research.
Yeah, definitely. There are multiple areas where people can coordinate, like the importance right now for the telehealth, and also how you can integrate information from wearables. For example, people have Fitbit or other Apple Watch, different ways of wearables. How you can get the information from wearables, and how you can use that as a feedback to design some of the studies, or provide certain specific exercises at specific time points. So you basically you'll be able to collect a lot of lifestyle data, and then based on the data, you will be able to provide them exercises. These are kind of new areas where we will be more than happy to collaborate and work with you. There are companies that are interested in that type of research or that type of products. So definitely this is a fertile area. We can collaborate. I think I got your, I recognize your name from the WhatsApp message. So you can get in touch.
Yeah. And I was working with SFASA, the Yoga Research University from Bangalore. And,
yes. Yeah, I've been invited to speak there. I've been there.
Yeah, I was actually planning to meet you in person. Unfortunately, I couldn't get that opportunity. And yeah, I'm so happy to see you on my screen. So happy. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Very good. I think I need to leave as well. So it's been a great pleasure, and I really enjoyed talking. I love to talk. It's been 2.5 hours, I think. We enjoyed it. It's great.
Thank you.
Thank you again for Dr. Sukumari.
Yeah. Thank you, Sundar. தேங்க்யூ சுந்தர். ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். எங்களுக்கு நீங்க எங்களுக்கு ஒரு ஸ்பீக்கரா கிடைச்ச உங்களை வச்சு நாங்க இந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வெபினார் பண்ணினது ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். எல்லாருமே ரொம்ப பாராட்டினாங்க. உங்களுடைய அந்த டெட்எக்ஸ் லிங்க்கும் இதுவும் எல்லாம் கொடுத்துருக்கோம். எல்லா லிங்க்கும் வேற ஏதாவது உங்களது அந்த புக்ஸ் ஆடியோ எது இருந்தா கூட நீங்க அனுப்புங்க. நாங்க எங்க பார்ட்டிசிபென்ட்ஸுக்கு அனுப்புறோம். நிறைய பேர் பிபிடிஸ் கேட்குறாங்க. ஆமா, பிபிடிஸ் கேட்குறாங்க. நெக்ஸ்ட் வீக்
எல்லாமே வந்து
ஆன்லைன்ல இருக்கு. ஓகே, எனக்கு அந்த லிங்க் கொடுங்க, நான் அதை அனுப்பிச்சு விட்டுறேன் எல்லாருக்கும். அண்ட் நெக்ஸ்ட் 7th of செப்டம்பர் 7th ஆகஸ்ட் வந்து இளங்கோ பேசுறாரு. ஸோ யூ ப்ளீஸ் ஜாயின் த மீட்டிங். நான் இன்விடேஷன் அனுப்புறேன், நீங்க வரணும். அதுக்கு அடுத்தது வந்து யுவா பேசுறேன்னு சொல்லியிருக்காரு. விஜயும் ஸ்ரீதரையும் பேச சொல்லணும். உங்களுக்கு தெரியும் விஜயலட்சுமி சீனிவாசன், விஜய் ஸ்ரீதர் எல்லாத்தையும் இது பண்ண எல்லாருக்கும் அனுப்பிச்சிருக்கேன், இன்விடேஷன் அனுப்பிச்சேன். தெரியல, இந்தியா வரும்போது கண்டிப்பா வாங்க, வீட்டுக்கு வாங்க. செந்தில் தெரியும் நினைக்கிறேன், அவர் உங்க புக்கு எதுக்கெல்லாம் வந்திருந்தாரு, யுவராஜ் கூட செந்தில் வந்திருந்தாரு. யுவராஜ் கண்டிப்பா வாங்க, வீட்டுக்கு வரணும். சென்னை வந்து இந்தியா வரும்போது வீட்டுக்கு வாங்க. ஓகே,
தேங்க்யூ.
கல்னா மேடம் பேசுறாங்க. ஒரு நிமிஷம். கலீனா ப்ளீஸ் யூ டாக் டு ஹிம். You unmute and talk. Okay. Kalina madam. Avanga addition
sir, thank you for this.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.
It's been a very wonderful evening today, with a very session which was practically oriented. And thanks a lot for this session, sir. I hope all our students and the participants had a great day today. Thank you.
As long as they continue the practice, that's the best benefit that we get.
Yes. I was just talking to my daughter about this pranic breathing. I said 24 minutes every day, year after, we should do it.
I think ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸுக்கும் இதை வந்து நாங்க கிளாஸுக்கு போகணும், ஒரு 10 minutes அவங்களையும் அந்த ரெஸ்ட்லெஸ்னஸை கம்மி பண்றதுக்கு பண்ணணும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். இப்போ குழந்தைகள்லாம், என் பையன்லாம் கேஜெட் தான், என்ன பண்றேன்னே தெரியல. இப்ப இதை கொஞ்சம் சொல்லி இது பண்ணணும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். நீங்க இந்தியா வரும்போது கண்டிப்பா பிரசிடென்சி காலேஜ் நீங்க வரீங்க. யூ ஆர் கிவிங் a talk to college. ரொம்ப தேங்க்ஸ்.
தேங்க்யூ சார்.
ஓகே ரஹீம் சார்.
தேங்க்யூ சார். சார் தேங்க்யூ வெரி மச் சார். நான் நேத்திக்கே உங்ககிட்ட சொல்லல, நானும் உங்களோட ஐபிஎம்எஸ், நானும் ஐபிஎம்எஸ் தான், மைக்ரோபயாலஜி. ஓகே சார். அப்புறம் தான் மேடம் சொன்னாங்க ஐபிஎம்எஸ் தான் அப்படிங்கிறது.
ஓகே இதுல ஃபாரன்சிக் லேப்ல ஆரம்பிச்சு ஐபிஎம்எஸ் முடிச்சேன். டாக்டர் ஜெயபால் அவங்க நல்லா தெரியும்.
சரி 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 சரி
பார்க்கலாம்.
ஓகே சார், பாப்போம். ரொம்ப நன்றி உங்க டைம் இது பண்ணதுக்கு. தேங்க்யூ. சரி ரஹீம் சார் வெயிட் பண்ணுங்க. ரஹீம் சார்.
ஓகே சார், சொல்லுங்க மேடம்.
ரொம்ப சக்சஸ்ஃபுல்லா முடிச்சிட்டோம்.
ஓகே ஓகே
சக்சஸ்ஃபுல்லா ஆயிடுச்சு. நல்லபடியா அதாச்சு. இந்த ஃபீட்பேக் ஃபார்ம் எல்லாம் அனுப்பிச்சு விட்டா சரி.
ஆமா, அது நம்ம 1000 பேருக்கு முதல்ல அனுப்பிட்டோம். 1000 மெம்பர்ஸ்க்கு நம்ம ஆல்ரெடி அனுப்பியாச்சு. அவங்க இன்னைக்கே கூட நைட்ல ஒரு 8 மணிக்கு மேல ஆக்டிவேட் பண்ணனா எடுத்துக்கலாம். ஆனா மீதம் ஒரு 800 பேருக்கு நாளைக்கு அனுப்புவோம். அடுத்த ஒரு மீதவங்களுக்கு ஒரு சண்டே அனுப்பிடுவோம்.
ஓகேங்க சார், ஓகேங்க சார், போட்டோம். இப்போ அடுத்த வந்து இது வந்து இப்போ நம்ம ஆர்கனைசர்ஸ்க்கு நான் ரெடி பண்ணி நம்ம அதை கொடுத்துருவோம் நமக்கு. அப்புறம் இவருக்கு ஒரு சர்டிபிகேட் அனுப்பிச்சிருவோம். இந்த மாதிரி அப்ரிசியேஷன் வந்து ஃபார் பிரசன்டிங் திஸ் டாக் பிரசிடென்சி காலேஜோட கொலாபரேட் பண்ணி பண்ணாருன்னு இவருக்கு ஒன்று, தேவநாதன் சாருக்கு ஒன்று கொடுத்துருவோம். ஒரு ஆர்கனைசிங்ல மேடத்துக்கு கொடுங்க. என்னப்பா முகத்தை காமிக்கணும் லலிதா.
எல்லாரும் வீடியோல பார்த்து ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். எல்லாரும் மீட் பண்ணதுல ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம்.
உங்க முகத்தை காமிக்க மாட்டேங்கிறீங்களா லலிதா? உங்க முகத்தை காட்டுங்க. எங்களை பாக்குறீங்க, உங்களை பார்க்க வேண்டாமா நாங்க? ஹலோ
ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ணது
லலிதா.
லேட்டஸ்டா பண்ணிருக்கீங்க டிபார்ட்மென்ட்ல.
ஆமா ஆமா
ஆமா, ரொம்ப நல்லா இருந்தது. கங்க்ராச்சுலேஷன்ஸ்.
முகத்தையே காமிக்காம எப்படி லலிதா? லலிதா முகத்தை காட்டுங்க முதல்ல. ரஹீம் சார்.
ரஹீம் சார்.
எஸ் மேடம், சொல்லுங்க மேடம். சொல்லுங்க மேடம், சொல்லுங்க.
Excellent coordination.
Very good madam.
And excellent technical support. Thanks a lot for this.
Thank you madam. Thank you madam. Okay madam. Thank you.
நல்ல நிறைய பார்ட்டிசிபென்ட்ஸ்.
ஆமா ஆமா
சார் லலிதா முகத்தை காட்டுங்க சார். என்ன சார் இப்படி பண்றீங்க? என்ன அது இப்படி பண்ணா அநியாயம் இல்ல? நீங்க என்ன நீங்க
அதான் அடுத்த
எங்க ஆளை காணுமே
இருக்குறாங்க
கொஞ்சம் லலிதா. யா ரொம்ப கலர் ஆயிட்டாங்களா? இல்ல ரொம்ப ஜெயலலிதா மாதிரி தெரியுது கையெல்லாம். ஜெயலலிதா மாதிரி தெரியுது கையெல்லாம். லலிதா அப்படியே பின்னால வாங்க, நாங்க பாக்கட்டோம். கிரீஷ் என்ன சார் என்ன ஒண்ணுமே பண்ண விடல. மொபைல புடுங்குறான், இதை பண்றான், கிளாஸ்